and welcome back to Queen G's Recipes. And today I'm going to be showing you a very delicious recipe that is very chocolatey, and it's topped with a chocolate ganache, and you're gonna love it. So what we'll be making today is a layered chocolate cake. Now it is just in time for Father's Day, so it would be the perfect thing to make for your dad, surprise him after dinner. And the ingredients are a few, but most definitely very simple ingredients you use in your everyday baking. And I'm going to be making this in my standing mixer today, but most definitely a bowl and a handheld electric whisk will do just fine, or a spatula and a wooden spoon will work with a bowl as well. So let's go over the ingredients we'll be needing here. So first off, I have 1 1/4 cups of boiling water here. It is really hot right now, but I just recently boiled it. You're also going to be needing 3 whole eggs. Here we have 1 cup of vegetable oil. Any flavorless oil of your choice will do. We have 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. In here we have 2 1/2 cups of flour. I have also added 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Here we have 1/4 cup of sour cream, and here we have our cocoa, 3/4 cups. We also are going to be needing 2 cups of sugar, and that's about it. So we're also going to be making a filling and a chocolate ganache, but I will show you the ingredients for the filling once we get there. Okay, so our flour mixture here, cocoa, and we'll sift. And into that we'll also add in our sugar. Okay, and we're just going to give this a gentle mix to incorporate all our dry ingredients. Okay, so now into our dry ingredients, we're going to add all of our wet ingredients. It's that simple. Okay, so if you're using your standing mixer, you want to add your paddle attachment, and now we are just going to mix until we have a nice creamy chocolate mixture. Not to overmix, just until you have the perfect consistency. Okay, so what I have here are 2 9-inch pans, and I have greased them very well with some softened butter, and I also placed a piece of parchment paper in each pan. So what we're going to do now is we're going to split our batter between the two. Okay, so my cakes were in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to make sure that you had your oven preheated before you place your cakes in. And so my cakes were in the oven for exactly 30 minutes. As soon as you insert a toothpick and it's clean, you know that your cakes are fully baked. So now I'm going to allow them to cool completely, and we're going to work on our filling, and then we'll work on our ganache for the topping. Okay, so in our saucepan here, now we're working on our filling. So in our saucepan here, we have 3/4 cups of milk and 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. So we're going to put this on our stovetop and we're going to allow it to come to a nice gentle boil, and then I'll show you the next step after that. So I'm going to set this aside for a second, and then we're going to bring over our bowl, and we are going to add in 1/4 cup of sugar. Okay, so we'll add in 1/4 cup of sugar. Right, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, 1, 2. We're going to add in 1 egg. Right. Okay. And we are going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right. We are also going to be needing 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. I'll be using semi-sweet, but it's up to you if you want to use bittersweet or milk chocolate. That's totally up to you, but we will be adding that in after we have our filling mixture complete. So now we're just going to give this a nice mix. Okay, so you want to make sure that your cornstarch is completely dissolved in your mixture, or else when you add the hot milk to this mixture, it will start to create little chunks of cornstarch, and it will look horrible. You won't be able to fix it. So you want to make sure you have this ready before you have it perfect and ready before you simmer your milk. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set our bowl aside. We're going to move over to our stovetop on medium-low heat, and we're going to allow our milk to come up to a simmer. Okay, so keep an eye on your milk and cream mixture here. It will not take long at all to come up to a simmer because there is a very minimal amount of milk and cream here. So just keep an eye on it, keep stirring. You don't want your milk to scorch or stick to the bottom of the pan. Once I get there, I'll let you know what it looks like and where it should be at. Okay, so as you can see, our milk is all bubbling around the edges, so it has come up to a gentle boil or simmer, and now we are going to remove this from our stove. We're going to close our stove top, and we're going to add probably about 1/4 of this milk and cream mixture into our cornstarch. Okay, so now from our milk, we're going to add in about probably 1/4 of the mixture here. Now as soon as you add it in, you need to mix right away because we do have an egg in our mixture and we do not want it to scramble. So I'm going to add it in, and then right away we are going to stir. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little bit more of our milk and cream mixture here. And we're going to stir again. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this here, place the rest of our egg mixture here, the rest of our milk mixture here, and we are going to very carefully and quickly add in our egg mixture, which we have previously mixed with a part of our milk and cream. We're going to add it all in quickly here. Take our whisk back and whisk continuously until everything is nicely mixed together. Okay, so that's that. We're going to take this back onto our stovetop on medium-low heat. Okay, so now we're going to take our mixture and we're going to take it back onto our stove at medium-low heat, and we're going to keep mixing for about 2 to 3 minutes until our mixture becomes nice and thick, and then we'll add in our chocolate chips. Okay, so during this process I like to use my whisk just to ensure we are getting everything mixed together here. Nothing's getting stuck to the bottom of our saucepan. And we're going to keep on mixing until it starts to thicken. So you can have your chocolate chips ready, your 1/3 a cup of chocolate chips. I'm using semi-sweet as I've previously mentioned. So as soon as we remove this from our stovetop, we'll add it in and mix until our chocolate chips are completely melted. Okay, so our mixture took about 3 minutes. As you can see, it's like a nice thick pastry cream. It thickened up very nicely, very quickly, but you need to continuously stir because you don't want any clumps in your mixture and you don't want it to stick to the bottom of your saucepan. Okay, so now we're ready to add in our chocolate chips. And now you can switch to a spatula, you can switch to whatever you want to make it easier, but just using your whisk, I promise you, will work perfectly fine and it will melt perfectly, as you can see. As you can see, this is a perfect consistency for a filling. It's nice and thick and creamy. I just switched to a spatula to make sure I had all of my chocolate combined into my mixture here. And now we're going to have to allow this to cool completely, and our cakes are still cooling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this into a bowl and I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the plastic wrap is touching the actual chocolate filling. When you're covering your bowl, place it into your fridge and allow it to cool completely. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes and now we're just going to mix. You don't want to wait longer than 5 minutes. You don't want your mixture to become cold and everything hardens and it won't work. So you need to make sure just 5 minutes is enough. Okay, so we have our ganache here, but as it cools, it's going to thicken definitely. Now what we're going to do with this ganache here is we're going to reserve 3/4 cups aside, and then we're going to take the remaining of the ganache and we're going to cover it and we're going to place it in our fridge and allow it to cool completely. Well, what I have done here is in a container, I have placed 3/4 cups of the ganache, which we will be keeping aside at room temperature, allowing it to cool at room temperature. And the remaining, I will be placing this one in the fridge. So we'll allow this to cool completely. It'll take about an hour. Now, it is probably a better idea to make your ganache ahead of time. So before you even bake your cakes, make your ganache. But I'm just showing you the process step by step here, so you do at home whatever is easier for you, but I am telling you that it is a better idea to make the ganache first before making anything else. So I'm gonna leave this one aside and I'm gonna place this in my fridge, and then I'll be back here to decorate our cake. Okay, so it's been a little bit over an hour. It's probably been about an hour and a half since I've had my 1.5 cups of ganache refrigerated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now place this into my standing mixer. You can also do this with a bowl and an electric handheld machine. Okay. Now we're not going to touch the ganache that we have set aside at room temperature. That'll be for the topping of our cake, the final step. Okay? So now we're going to whisk this on high speed for about a minute until it is nice and fluffy. Okay, so it is at a great consistency, as you could see. Now once we place our complete cake in the fridge, as soon as it's done, this will all firm up again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove my bowl, set it aside, and we are going to move on to adding our filling on the bottom layer of our chocolate cake. Okay, so what I did was I placed my topping, which we just whipped, in the fridge. So until we place the filling in our cake here, so it's nice and cool. Okay, so I removed the filling from the fridge. I was just giving it a nice mix. As you can see, it's perfect. So we're going to gently spread this on our cake. I just put my cake upside down here on my serving platter. And I also put some pieces of parchment paper so that once we're done decorating, we can just remove them. So gently and carefully, so your filling is nice, firm, and cold. So you just want to be careful when spreading so you don't ruin your cake. Might move around a little bit because of the parchment paper, but just hold on to your cake here. I also wanted to give you guys another tip. Once you remove your cakes from your oven, just make sure that you only allow them to sit in the pan for about 10 minutes, and then run a butter knife around the edges and remove your cakes from the pans. Don't let them stay for too long, or else they'll start to stick to the pan. Okay, so now we're ready to place the top layer of our cake, and once again we're going to place it upside down so we have a nice flat part of our cake on top here. Okay, so you can see. All right, and we're just going to gently squish it down just to make sure everything is even and leveled here. Okay, so now with our topping, I removed it from the fridge. It's still a little bit soft, but as I said, once you place your cake in the fridge, it will all firm up. Now most definitely you could use a buttercream on here, a chocolate buttercream, but I find that this adds the perfect touch with a chocolate ganache, whipped chocolate ganache here. Okay. Okay, so you don't have to worry too much about perfecting your cake. We are going to place some chocolate ganache on top. So now I'm just giving it a stir here. Okay, and we are going to pour it gently, as much or as little as you like, depending on how much you want to cover your cake. We have decorated it like a naked cake here, so it is just perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in my fridge for about 2 hours or so. Okay, so it is suggested to allow your cake to be refrigerated for at least 2-3 hours before serving, but I am going to cut a slice here so you guys can see what it looks like inside. Perfection. Look at this. It is just perfect. Let me grab my spoon. Okay, so now we're ready to try here. The cake is just perfect. It is super moist. The filling is just amazing. It's not overly sweet. The chocolate flavor is just perfect for this cake. And it is just super, super moist. Just amazing. So I'm going to go on to eating my slice of cake. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload a new and delicious video. And that's about it. Don't forget to share the recipe with your family and friends. And enjoy it, everyone. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.